I resent wholeheartedly being referred to as a pest. I am a wood pigeon, the largest and, some have observed, the most decorative of all pigeons. We have a distinctive white collar. Comparing me with a common messenger pigeon is frightful tosh. I am born of Central European heritage, although for generations my family has resided in the Wandsworth area. Most would remark quite pleasantly with its residents. That is until recent years, but more of that anon. As a species we have suffered relentless abuse because of the common misconception that we are scavengers that populate all of London and have no other use than to defecate on the heads of passers-by. We have fought some torrid battles, shootings and attempts of mass murder, but we are a robust sort, and we are unwilling to leave without a tussle. Local councils have started clamping down of late, removing us. This decade, you see, I have produced a particularly bountiful offspring. Well, one must ensure one's line continues. The authorities, however, see it otherwise. Providing for my progeny is my priority. Therefore, it is necessary for one to venture into a rear garden occasionally, for supplies. It was a clear day as I rummaged for morsels in a garden, when my fate was, as the saying goes, sealed. It was by no means a grand abode, an old Victorian semi-flat conversion. The garden, a common spot for me, belonged to the owner of the ground floor flat, some young floppy-haired photographer, you know, drives a new Mini Cooper, funny shoes, what have you. He had a cat, Ginger, decidedly dim. Couldn't catch a cold if you gave him one. I usually paid him scant attention. This afternoon, however, took a dark and brutal turn. Rummaging around, a sudden sense of foreboding swept over me like a wave over a small tugboat. I turned only to see the cat launch himself upon me, sinking his claws deep into the depths of my breasts. My wings tried to take off, fighting furiously to beat beneath this great oaf of a feline. My ears were a carnival of cracking bones and tearing flesh. I was clamped tightly in the grasp of his mouth when the cat started trotting towards the conservatory. Then I could hear a voice. "Fonzie Shoat, is that a pigeon? Oh, you grim bastard." I was promptly released and dropped onto the floor. I concluded, with terrifying clarity, that the cat had gone and I was left alone with the photographer. A fusion of panic, terror and adrenaline raced through me, and I leapt to my feet and collapsed immediately as it appeared I was minus a leg. Thoughts raced through my mind. How would I escape this perilous situation? I took a minute to assess my condition. I observed that my right wing had become detached and was hanging on by a tendon. I was definitely less an eye, and through the remaining one I traced a frightful path as what can only be described as my innards. Nonetheless, I was not prepared to die. I attempted flight, although to little avail. I glanced at the man, his face a study of bewildered shock. He was clearly at odds as to how to deal with the situation. I saw him make the decision to take a step towards me, but with one wing I warned, "Go away! Thus far and no further! Bugger off!" At this exertion my breast began to spasm and emit short, sharp spurts of blood. He looked horrified. He uttered, "Mate, you're a goner," and left the room. I desperately searched for a way out. I tried to muster together some strength and move my wings, but my oxygen supply was depleted. Blood was gushing and tendons were tangling. It was all rather gruesome. A minute or two passed, although time was neither here nor there any longer, before he returned with a baseball bat. Now this was very alarming indeed. He looked more scared than I, which I thought peculiar, as I was the one facing a potentially violent demise. He paced around the room for some time, occasionally looking over at me with a face of pity and disgust. I had to do something, so in an attempt to ward him off I began flapping once again. Blood sprayed more freely this time, and to great effect. Now this was absurd, I pondered. I was not going to be bludgeoned to death. I was still very much alive, if a little damaged. Who did he think he was to take my life? To decide that right then and right there I should face my downfall, meet my maker, kick the bucket? I was quite livid. I inquired, "What is it exactly you expect to achieve with that bat?" He replied, "I've got to finish it off, mate." I exclaimed, "Can you not just take me to a vet?" "On three, ready, mate. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. You absolute bloody bastard! How could you have missed? I am right bloody here! You have successfully struck everything below my head, bar my head, you catastrophically inept bore! Now this was troublesome. As far back as one could remember, one was in control, yet here I was, limbless, flattened, and not in control. The pain was insufferable, and the nature of my injuries guaranteed my departure from this life. The end was nigh. Well, you really have made a frightful hash of the situation, haven't you? I could not be any closer nor any further away from death as I am now, you idiot! Oh, stop standing there, you gormless toe! Get on with it! I am ready. And do it bloody properly this time. But one last thing. Know this. We tolerate unthinkable prejudice. If I happened to be a sparrow or a thrush or probably any other bird, you would have spared me. But because of my name, my appearance, because all you think we do is scavenge and shit on people's heads, you feel you have the right to take my life. We are no pests. We are pigeons. And you are a nasty booby of a man. Adieu.